I am pleased to introduce our wonderful speaker, Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. Dr. Suhas is a classically trained Ayurvedic physician with over 30 years of clinical experience. He is a best-selling author, a motivational speaker, and an acclaimed educator in the field of Ayurveda and integrative medicine. Dr. Suhas has traveled around the globe teaching Ayurveda, yoga, meditation, and natural medicine, and he's well known for formulating popular herbal products. You may have seen or caught Dr. Suhas in some podcasts, a recent radio spot, and television shows. And also locally, you can find him here in Santa Cruz, California as the director of the Ayurvedic Healing Institute. And we are delighted to have Dr. Suhas as a senior faculty member and chair for the College of Ayurveda here at Mount Madonna Institute. And we're so pleased to have him with us this afternoon to share his wisdom on how to stay healthy and happy through the winter season. So thank you so much, Dr. Suhas. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin. And once again, on behalf of Mount Madonna Institute, I welcome all of you to this wonderful expression of Vedic wisdom. And on this wonderful day of winter, especially here in California, we are fortunate enough to have bright sunshine out of our windows, but some of you may not be that fortunate in different parts of the country. But it is something which is the magic of the nature, and by respecting it and probably aligning ourselves with the rhythms of nature is the real need of the hour. And there's no pun intended here, because I think syncing your internal circadian rhythms with what is happening outside your window is something which is very, very important. And sometimes we get caught up with what is going on in our life, in our minds, with our life, that we kind of are caught off guard and we are not able to sync with what is happening. Before we get there and before we get started, what I would like to do is I would like to do a short Vedic invocation so that it connects me with my roots and I'm able to share every information that I'm going to share with you coming from the deep, authentic sources. So allow yourselves to be quiet, centered for a few seconds while I'll do a Vedic invocation. Take a nice deep breath, hold it inside for a few seconds and then let go. It's as if that you're borrowing the intelligence from Mother Nature just for those few seconds to keep you alive. And then you're going to share that with the rest of the world and again continue this journey. So do it in a very mindful, watchful way as you breathe in, hold it inside and release. Prata smarami rudisansfuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramahansa gatim turiyam Yat swapna jagar sushupti mavaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham nachabhuta sangaha. Hari Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. And once again, on behalf of Mount Madonna Institute and Ayurvedic Healing, I welcome all of you. The topic today that we are going to discuss is very timely. We are talking about how to beat the winter blues. And when we talk about how to beat the winter blues, one thing that we have to realize and understand that whether we like it or not, our little planet Earth is swirling on its axis and moving in dizzying speed around the orbit around our solar system, which is sun is the center of it. So whether you like it or not, the spinning of the Earth on its axis is not going to stop. It's moving in the orbit around the sun is not going to stop. We are helplessly watching and exposed to the seasonal changes, the day and nights that are created in different parts of the world because of that transition. Half of the world is exposed to sunlight, where half of the world is not exposed to sunlight at that time. So 12 hours of day and night are eternal. They are created because we live on this planet. And it's not human beings that are affected because of this. Every living species, every cellular life form is affected with the changes in the light. And Ayurveda, even though we call it as one of the most ancient and most comprehensive system of healthcare that is known to humanity, has acknowledged this because this is the founding principle of understanding and respecting the laws of nature, what Ayurveda is all about. Ayurveda is a consciousness-based system of health and healing. And one of the primary tenets of Ayurveda is to really understand that how we can sync ourselves with what is happening in the nature. When we talk about seasonal changes, when we talk about what to do during the day, there should be an ideal template for your daily routine, I would say. What do you do from sunrise to sunset? What should you be doing from sunset to sunrise? Ratri Charya, as we call it. So one is Dinacharya, which is daily routine, Ratri Charya, which is nightly routine, and the seasonal change. Every time you go from spring to summer to fall to winter, the body is caught off guard. The doshas are on the move. The physiological shift and the changes in your structures and function of the body is happening no matter what. Your job is to acknowledge, to understand, to be aware. That's step number one. And step number two is what can you do in order to sync what is happening in your body with what is happening outside your window. And that seasonal transition, where you prepare your body for the next season, allows the doshas to be managed, regulated, and if needed, to be cleansed and purged out also. There are some seasonal purifications that we talk about, which are intended for that purpose. I know some of you are fully aware of the lingo of Ayurveda. Some of you are not fully aware of the lingo of Ayurveda. So I'm going to keep it a little bit more neutral and a little bit more, I would say, generic, so that we all understand the bigger message, what is here. And the bigger message that we're going to talk about is that with the change of season, the physiological functioning is affected. And not only affecting the organs, the structures, the molecules, but the gene expression in your body, the genetic switches are affected. We used to know about this earlier, where we used to say that when you look at the sunlight, that light hits to your retina, and then it sends signals to an area in your brain, which is called a suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay? Suprachiasmatic nucleus is an area deeply embedded close to pineal gland, and it's almost the size of a rice grain, a grain of rice. That is the size of this organ, which senses the light and tells the whole body that it is daylight. And then the functions start what you have to do during the day. And when it's dark, it sends the same signal and tells that shut down, we'll start doing something else. It's phenomenal to really understand that little cue of the light and darkness felt by one little area, which is the size of a grain of a rice, and then it sends signal all over the body to 50 trillion cells to tell them what to do. It's like the Big Ben that you have in the streets of London that tells the whole city what to do and what time it is right now. And that was, again, an old school of thought, that it senses the light and then it tells what to do. But what we have recently known at a physiological level, with the discovery of something called as clock genes, there are genes which act like clocks. These are called as peripheral clocks. These clocks actually sense everything that is happening, and they are doing their activities with knowing perfectly what is happening outside, what time of the day it is, whether it is to work on your lipids, on cholesterol, triglycerides, immune activity. It is able to sync that. And this discovery of clock genes actually received a Nobel Prize in medicine a couple of years ago. So what we are talking about today, with the understanding of what happens during winter, is very much in sync with this chronobiological understanding of our body. Chrono means time and biology means the biological functions. at a cellular level, how the time affects your body. And this is what we're discussing here, how the winter time affects your body. And especially when we say blues, blues is a term which is oftenly related or correlated with feeling of depression, sadness, loneliness, grief. That's what the tinging of that blue color represents. So is there a correlation when the nights become longer, the days become shorter in many parts of the world, what it does to your mindset? Does it really make you dull, depressed, lazy, lethargic? And the simple answer is yes. The simple answer is yes, because not only does make your body feel this way, but your mind actually is so greatly affected, especially in the oceanic area, in the northeast part of this country, in some of the midwestern part of this country, where the day is really, really short. Many places it doesn't have sunrise around 8:30 in the morning, and then it gets dark by 3:30 in the afternoon. You have such a long long nights of winter that until and unless you make the adjustment, your body is going to suffer. So that is going to be the topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about so many different things, and we're going to talk about why science is validating this ancient Ayurvedic principle of Ritucharya, of understanding that you have to proactively do something in order to adapt to these changes of day and night. Okay, I hope you're all with me. It's all clear. You can hear me. You can see me clearly. I'm going to share my slides, and we are going to start for our talk today, which is Beat the Winter Blues using Ayurveda and Yoga. And Ayurveda and Yoga are the sciences, which is a consciousness-based approach to health and healing. Consciousness-based approach to health and healing simply means that you are aware of your internal environment so that you can adapt to your outward and outside environment. Let me repeat this. This is a very important point. And we always say that if you let your outer environment affect your inner environment constantly, then you're going to create a lot of turbulence, diseases, sickness, suffering, problems, challenges. But if you allow your internal environment, which is nice and stable and strong and joyful and happy, affect the outer environment, then you are a strong magnet. Then you are a powerful human being. Then you are able to make changes not only in your physiology, but in the community, in the society around you, with the state of equanimity and balance that you carry with you all the time. And these sciences that we talk about, Ayurveda and Yoga, is all about internal calibration of stability, groundedness, in which your ability to tap into your inner environment, which affects what is outside. So I jokingly tell many of my patients that if you're complaining about these long nights outside, you need to turn on your inner light. You need to turn on the inner sun, as we say. Is that right? That's what yoga is all about, is regulating the sun and moon. Hatha, this word actually means sun and moon. And it's not only just sun and moon, but what we are going to talk about, sun is the serotonin, which creates stimulation, energy, dynamism, enthusiasm. And moon is the melatonin, which is about calmness, tranquility, restfulness, coolness. So balancing sun and moon, balancing serotonin, melatonin is the solution for beating the winter blues. And we'll talk a little bit more about it. But I think that is the concept, and that these are the sciences in which we are going to talk about more strongly. So this term, seasonal affective disorder, people were experiencing this for as long as the humanity knows. But from a scientific perspective, about in the 1800s, this term initially came in. Nobody paid attention to this a whole lot, but maybe in last 50, 60, 70 years, there's almost a specific category where people are affected with the change of season, and you develop a group of symptoms which are explained in medical terminology, books. The doctors are trained to understand and deal with this, is called as seasonal affective disorder. And the acronym is SAD. You do feel sad when the winter gets you down and you're feeling blue and dull and you don't have a whole lot of bright colors around you. So the seasonal affective disorder is often characterized with a feeling of depression. And depression could be gentle, mild, or could be something very incapacitating and serious. It could be on a spectrum scale on a very low end or a very high end. It's a type of winter depression. And frankly speaking, every one of us is affected because of these cold, wintry shift and the changes that you're having. This feeling of depression affects about 500,000 to 1,000,000 people every year. And some of them who are really seriously affected is 500,000. Some of them who are mild or moderately affected is another 500,000 people. But this is caused by an imbalance of certain neurotransmitters in the brain. These neurotransmitters, which are regulating your moods, your health, your joy, your compassion, your ability to be flexible and to be resilient, are all affected. And you feel cold and frozen. When we use these terms quite a bit, someone gave you a cold shoulder, or someone probably gave you a cold stare, or all of those things are often used in a way which is feeling of isolation. What happens in the winter, there's a decreased amount of natural light, natural sunlight, the intensity, the quality, the severity, and the amount of light that reaches us, that reaches our eyelids, that reaches our eyes, sending the signal to this area in the brain, telling the whole body what to do. And believe it or not, sun from a Vedic perspective is always considered to be the giver of health. Arogyam bhaskarat ichet. So you expect health and vitality from sunlight. Way before we started talking about vitamin D3 and the levels of vitamin D3, Vedic culture has been worshipping sun for a long time, with sun salutation, with Gayatri mantras, with so many different ways of offering water to the rising sun, meditating around sunrise, sunset, all of those things, not only in Vedic culture, but all the cultures around the globe have looked at sun as the giver of health. So when this sunlight is decreased, the daylight hours are reduced and partially changing weather patterns. And we try to play a little trick in this country, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, where we started creating a term called as DST, or daylight savings time. So we said, okay, if sun is not behaving itself, maybe we'll trick it. And then we'll try to push the time 1 hour forward or 1 hour backward, and then we'll have a little bit longer time to do this and that. And this started happening when the railways initially started, before even airplanes. We talked about railway, where railway was moving very quickly and going from one state to the other state in a zippy. And by the time you go somewhere else, the time was a little bit different. So they actually started making the daylight saving times because of the trains. Now the airplane travels, and God knows what's going to happen with SpaceX and how we are going to deal with that. But I think we started doing daylight savings time. And there's a huge movement that is currently going on of canceling the daylight savings time because people are affected. And I'm not joking, I can even share you some scientific studies where when we change the clock 1 hour forward, we call it spring forward and fall backward. Is that right? We have 1 hour falling backward in fall and 1 hour forward in spring. Every time we spring forward, we actually increase the heart attacks by about 10% in the first month of this time change. There's an increase of myocardial infarcts. There's an increase in motor vehicle accident by about 10 to 12%. So again, means you have changed the clock, but it takes time for the body to get used to it. It takes time for the body to get used to your digestion, bowel movement, assimilation, sleeping pattern, energy levels, everything. It doesn't happen with the change of clock. It takes about a week or 2 or 3 by the time you even get used to with just 1 hour of time zone change. Are you with me? Because this is so important that you need to understand that the body is adapting to it. You need to support the adaptation of the body. And when the changing patterns of the weather are happening, then the body is caught off guard. And there's a lot of research published about it. The snowbirds, that there are people who suddenly go from winter months of Michigan to some warmer climate in Southern Hemisphere where it is summer there, and they come back and they have not experienced one full season because of that. The body suffers a toll because of that. Imagine that someone is living in Canada and they go and spend their winter in Argentina, where it's opposite, it's completely different summer weather, and you come back in spring and summer back to Canada, you have completely missed one full segment of weather that the body was supposed to be exposed to. It actually damages a lot of functions in the physiology. The lack of sunlight causes reduction in the level of serotonin. As I said, serotonin is a neurotransmitter. Is a neurotransmitter which allows you to feel bubbly, energetic, enthusiasm, dynamic, and an increase in the level of melatonin. So melatonin is a sleeping hormone. You use it for sleeping. So it promotes sleeping. It promotes deepening of your sleep. So nowadays people sleep at about 8:30, 9, 10 sometimes and don't wake up till 7:30 or 8. So from 8 to 8, you're sleeping for about 12, 13 hours. But look at summer. Summer, the daybreak happens around 4:30 or 5 and you're up and about. And there is still light out there till about 8:30 or 9. So even if you want to sleep, you cannot sleep that time. So there is a reduction of melatonin in summer. There's increase of melatonin in the winter months. So just because of this one molecular shift produces symptoms which are associated with seasonal affective disorders. As I said, SAD was discovered before 1845, was not officially named until early 1980s, so just 30, 40 years ago. There are about 100 articles that have been written on this subject since 1999, and I'm going to share a few of those highlights with you. Especially the first, Rosenthal was given the credit for identifying the seasonal affective disorders, writing extensively about it, publishing something about it. And now the medical subject heading for seasonal disorder is given. And there's a specific treatment protocol, ICD code is created. As many as 9 of every 100 people, close to 9 to 10% of the whole population actually suffer from it. And not only people suffer from it where they feel sad, lonely, grief, but it actually creates self-destructive tendencies. Self-destructive tendency doesn't mean that you're going to kill yourself all the time, but drinking too much, binging on bad kind of foods, substance abuse of any kind, these are all various ways of self-destruction. And there is a sudden rise and increase just because of that. So 9 out of 100 people suffer from this. About 10% of the population suffer from SAD. SAD is more common in the northern geographic regions of New England, North America, in the southern Canadian side and the northern US side itself, especially in the Arctic area, Finland, England, all those belts, Scandinavian area is really common. SAD is more common in women than men, especially women which are perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal women. So if you look at women from the age of 45 to 60, I would say, that's the age group that this is more common. And not only this is more common, but the tendency for suicidal ideation is high in women, very high in women. 4 times women than men attempt suicide in this country. And the peaking of that is in the winter months from November to February. Think about it for a moment. Okay, you're talking about season. You're talking about some kind of sadness or failure in your life. where you feel dull, gloomy, sad, and that is exacerbated with what you're feeling. You feel dull, cold, static, stiff, stagnant, and it leads to a sudden decision for you to end your life. So women are more prone to seasonal affective disorder. They have more suicidal ideation. They attempt suicide 4 times more than men. Men end up in doing it in the first attempt many times, but women do try to attempt more of those. The difficult months of SAD is January and February are the peak. That is the peak, but it starts right after Thanksgiving. So you're talking about November, December, January, February until 21st of March, which is the spring equinox. This is a situation that is happening. It could be slight variations in some places. What do you see? What do you see from an Ayurvedic perspective? This is the kaphagenic time. Okay, in the summer months, you have a lot of pitta. In the fall time, when you are moving from summer to fall, there's an early vata imbalance that starts happening because it's cold, windy. There's a change of color in fall, the leaves fall, it's dry, windy condition. These are all cold, dry, windy conditions suggestive of vata aggravation. But as you go through with the vata aggravation, then you get into the slumps of kapha. And those kapha situations, sometimes when the night becomes longer and the daylight becomes shorter, you have either people feeling sleepy, dull, fatigue, and sluggish during the day, and they want to sleep during the day or just snuggle and try to get a nap, or try to go to bed early because of cold winter situations. Hypersomnia is the most common symptom, where sleeping too much, either sleep too much and not able to awake at the proper time. And even though your eyes are awake, but you're feeling cold, so you just want to stay in the bed. Your sleep is disturbed or uneasy in the night. You sleep too much and you wake up invariably feeling dull, groggy, heavy, and toxic and tired. Very often you're feeling congested. You snore a lot in the night. You wake up congested. You feel sniffly. And no wonder this is the peak time of another relapse of flu that we see in late fall to early winter months itself. So sleeping too much is one aspect of this. And all the signs of increasing kapha. Kapha is a cold, heavy, soft, smooth, sticky kind of a dosha. And your body becomes like this. It clogs the channels. It makes you dull. It creates less energy for you to go out and exercise. Actually, this is the time for you to be more physically active so that you want to shed that heaviness that is accumulated in the system. But you feel lethargic. You feel dull. And more importantly, psycho-emotionally, because of the lack of sunlight, because of the cold weather, because of a bit isolation, lack of love sometimes. You feel depressed, you're sad, you're grieving, you're reminiscent of some of the good or bad things that are happening. You're thinking too much with yourself. And these symptoms of depression trigger in early fall to winter months. And these are including the feelings of loss, some kind of a loss that you're still thinking, wondering, worrying about some things, something that you have lost at some point. And unfortunately, many of these times, you end up in exposing yourselves to a lot of family. I don't know whether everybody feels happy with that or not, but it is a situation where all the festivals, think about it for a moment, all the festivals in the world are happening during these times, whether you talk about Diwali or the festivals of light or Thanksgiving or Christmas or the Jewish celebration, you're getting together with the family, preparing foods, sharing foods, coming with a holiday spirit, lighting your house, decorating your house. All of those things are one purpose: to dispel your attention from the seasonal affective disorder. You should not feel isolated. That's why you need to visit people. That's why you need to give gifts to each other. That's why you need to share your gifts with each other. That's the reason why all the cultures around the globe actually celebrate this around this time of the thing. And technically speaking, you see that it's a repetitive trend from Thanksgiving to New Year. The country is in a celebratory mode. You work hard all year long, and then suddenly you have to realize that if I don't reach out and hang out with people during this time, then I would be feeling a little bit more cornered and isolated. But when you are suffering from seasonal affective disorder, the challenge is that you feel socially anxious to go and spend time with your parents, with your siblings, brothers, sisters, or even friends that you like them or don't like them, but you feel so much anxious to get to a winter party or an office party or a holiday party or something. You tend to pull away from friends. You avoid social situations because there are changes that are happening in your mood that doesn't allow you to feel to go to those things. You feel all day long, and then suddenly when the time comes at 4 o'clock to pack something and do a potluck and get somewhere, there's a sudden mood swing and you just don't want to go. It's like a prolonged PMS symptoms in women that is really bad, that lingers for a few months. The dietary changes that happen, you just want to slump on a sofa and eat too much. And there is a lot of unfortunate quality about that is a lot of cookies and cakes and pastries and candies and chocolates everywhere you go. Whether you go to any office, work, business, people are surrounded with food and beverages and drinks constantly. Tough time of the year, and you end up in overeating. It leads to increased craving because your blood sugars are unstable. They go up and down. They are fluctuating. Sugary carbohydrate drinks, fatty rich foods with cheese, sugar, salt, fat. All of this creates dullness, creates loss of libido, loss of sexual attraction, desire, feeling, performance, a generalized increase in anxiety, weakened immune system where you are falling prey for common cold or winter arthritis or various symptoms that can happen that makes you feel a little bit stiff and isolated and cold. Whether this is bad enough where you need to go and see a doctor, maybe not. But you're feeling this way, no doubt. You're feeling this way. And what I'm going to share with you is what to do, because it's easy to understand that this is what we are feeling. But what is to be done is to really understand that to beat the holiday blues, we have to really do exactly opposite. If it is making me feel socially isolated, dull, and cornered, then I have to get together with the family. The fear of getting together with the family is getting on with the same unpleasant discussion that you have every year, with preconceived notions, with preconceived expectations, with knowing and having the same repetitive buttons that you press of each other, whether it's your cousin, whether it's your parents, all those discussions that actually creates a lot of hostility. And one of the things that I often recommend that you go and see and meet these folks as if you really don't know them, as if you're really going to go and spend some time with strangers and you're watching and looking at them with some degree of amusement without any preconceived thoughts and ideas about those. It is bound to happen. This download on each other is bound to happen. But that should not mean that you should not attend this, you should not do this, you should not go there or interact that. There are some old resentments, old anger. All of those issues are going to surface during this time. And we should avoid some of those things that are keeping you constantly engaging into those situations. So meeting people at a neutral venue where you go to a place, and unfortunately, we are not able to do a whole lot during the pandemic right now. But instead of just going to the same old family house, you meet them somewhere else. You make the holidays a bit more exciting, do more physical activities, go on long walks with your aging parents or things like that, which is always better than sitting on the dinner table, drinking, and going back and reenacting those discussions. Family reunion can be uplifting, can also be demoralizing. So you have to really understand that what is in that really bugs you the most. Maybe in that person, that situation, that statement, whatever it is. Until and unless you're a little bit mindful and aware that what it does to you, what it triggers, what kind of feelings does it evoke, whether nobody cares about me, or I don't care about them, or I'm not giving enough attention, I'm not getting enough attention, I'm not getting enough appreciation, nobody loves me, or they have money and I don't have money. One of the biggest challenges about exchanging these pricey gifts and expensive gifts and ideas. Who gives what? Whether you're comparing gifts with the cost of money and things, there's a lot of material comparison. How beautiful the house is, how fancy the place is, how expensive this has happened, how expensive the car is, the toys that you have accumulated. All of those creates almost a monetary connotation to everything. And this is the downside of these situations. So you may want to delicately avoid getting into discussions about those things, because many people pile up, and I'm quoting actual statistics. Most of the Americans actually pile up credit card debt in the month of November, December, which takes them to clear it before taxes in April. And this is a proven fact, that you get into debt every year in the month of November, December, which you are not able to pay close to the tax month in April. It puts a lot of financial strain and drain on your system. Unwanted travels, long distance things, because you want to get into holiday spirit and we'll pay it later. This is the time to go. The holidays are even more expensive for the travel and things, socializing. All of those aspects are good, but they're all double-edged sword. What you should be avoiding is unwanted alcohol, unwanted sugar, too much of heavy, sticky, bad, fatty foods. Be careful of your weight gain during those times. If your weight is more or less the same what you have on 15th of October and you have it on 15th of January, then you should be very proud of yourself. You should be very proud of yourself. 15th of October and on 15th of January, if your physical weight, body mass, muscle index is the same, then you should be very happy. Because you are all exposed to unwanted amounts of alcohol, sugar, salt, bad, cheesy, fatty foods. And not only this food creates blood sugar fluctuation, but it accumulates, clogs the channel. It accumulates the fat, clogs the channel. And that clogging of the channel is something which blocks the prana to flow in the body. The energy, the life force, mana, chi, whatever you want to call it, is not able to flow. It feels blocked, static, stagnant. It creates almost a feeling of lack of life, depression. And the whole anxiety of just looking at what we did this year and what do we want to accomplish next year. It's the twilight zone that you get into your life. It's as if no matter you're 20 years of age or you're 80 years of age, you get into this, what we call it as a twilight anxiety, where what have you done? What did you want to do and accomplish this year? What are the losses, the nears and the dears one, who you have lost, what you have gained, and what do you want to do next year? Creates an anxiety. You should do what we call it as recapitulation. Recapitulation is retrospection. Look at what you did. Means we should all be proud and happy that 2018, we are still COVID negative. Is that right? Means we somehow managed it. We survived through this whole pandemic. And here at the end of the year, I can proudly say that I was not tested positive. I did not get sick for the whole year. I tried to manage everything, even though I might have lost some work, I might have lost some money, I might have done this or that, but you're still alive, you're still healthy, you're still happy, you're still thankful for everything that the world has gone through, and you have been able to take good care of yourself. There's a retrospective quality to not only this year, but every year that you should practice. If you feel comfortable, write it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little break here and have you think about it for a moment, okay? Take a nice deep breath and just think before I change gears and go to a different topic. I want you to think, that what is the most important thing that you think is important that has happened this year for you? And what is one thing that is really painful, really difficult that you experienced this year? From January to December. Just rewind the film. If you feel comfortable, write it down. Okay. Well, it's a monumental year. Is that right? Whichever angle you look at it, we bridge the humanity. We created a global bridge where every country was united because of the tiny microbe. The whole world was united. What the nukes could not do, the microbe did it. It literally united. We have a new government. Lots of things to be grateful for. Lots of things to be happy about. Lots of things to feel really be happy to even be alive and witness this monumental shift that has happened in the world. I don't think anybody has experienced this kind of a situation in the last 100 years. And you and me are part of this, and you and me are able to understand this. So we move to the part 2 of our discussion, which is about what happens during the day. What happens during the day and what happens during the change of season itself. So you can imagine that you talk about 3 months of summer, 3 months of winter, 3 months of fall, 3 months of spring, and then 12 months. Actually, you can have a winter every day. You can have a fall every day. You can have spring and summer every day. That's what an Ayurvedic expression is. The seasons are miniature divisions of time that you experience in the 24 hours. You can have 6 hours of divisions of 4 seasons that you can have. Within those 6 hours, there'll be 1.5 hours of, again, redivision of different seasons. Within those 1.5 hours, there'll be again decisions. So we call it from a Jyotish perspective as the Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, Sukshma Dasha, and Prana Dasha, where you take a big chunk of time, divide, and then redivide, and then redivide. And that redivision actually allows us to calibrate and understand. So even though we talk about these seasons that we see what the nature goes through, but that division of time that is going on in the body itself. What is happening around midnight, we fall asleep. That is the peak time. 2 o'clock, the sleep is the deepest possible. Around 4 o'clock, the nature is starting to wake up. And when the nature is starting to wake up, the birds are chirping, they're leaving their nest around 4 o'clock. The body temperature is at its lowest. And then you start feeling a little bit lightness. The vata becomes active, and around 6 o'clock, you feel that your body wants to get out of the bed and be ready and start the day. So you are a little bit more awake during that time. There's a sharpest rise of blood pressure around 7 o'clock in the morning. This time is also called as the time where is the morning depression. The time that you feel depressed the most is around that time when you wake up in the morning. You feel depressed at around 7 o'clock. Around 7, 8, or 9, this is the most likely time that people die around 9 o'clock in the morning. The melatonin secretion stops, the cortisol levels go up at that time. If you're able to breathe through with physical movement, exercise, yoga, meditation, whatever you can do around that time, or maybe a cup of your favorite brown water, which everybody calls it coffee, but the magic potion, if it can help you walk through that time, then you're alive. Your alertness, your creativity, your brain is functioning at its best around 10 o'clock in the morning. So between 10 and 12, your brain is functioning at its peak. That's the best time to get bulk of work done. 12:30 when sun is at its peak, that's the time to eat your main meal of the day. Your digestive functions are open, the srotas, the channel, the juices are flowing. You should be able to digest easily during that time, very easily. Around 2:30, around 2:30 in the afternoon, the coordination time. You are slowing down after digestion, after eating the food, but you're still coordinating, you're organizing everything. Your reaction time is really good around Vata time of the day, which is around 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then you move to around 5 o'clock where your cardiovascular efficiency, your reaction time, your hand-eye coordination, muscular strength is at its peak. So for physical activity, exercise, that's a good time to do any sport. If you want to go play tennis or anything, 5 o'clock is a good time to do that. 8 o'clock, the same thing. So you talk about dawn and dusk. Dawn, you wake up around that time, feeling a little bit dull, depressed, heavy, unhappy. Again, you create that feeling around twilight when the sun sets and before you enter into dinner time, there's a feeling of sadness. So the best time to practice yoga and meditation is around sunrise after you wake up and before dinner. Those are the best time. So the blood pressure is spiking up, the cortisol levels are rising, lot of physical readjustment is happening around that time. So you want to make sure that you're able to do that and slowly prepare yourself with a lighter dinner at least 3 hours before you go to sleep, because around 9 o'clock, there's a melatonin secretion that starts peaking up, and the last bus to the land of sleep that should take you there is around 10 o'clock in the evening. So if you're asleep by 10, 10:30 and you wake up by about 5:30 or 6, that's an ideal daily routine. And this is the routine that yoga and Ayurveda has been talking about for ages together. And this is just being revalidated by this chronobiological clock that is accepted by all the scientists around the world. And the reason, because the peak time functions that happen in the body happen during those times. When you talk about 10 o'clock in the night, 9:30, cholesterol, triglyceride, lipid synthesis is happening. So if you're busy watching late night show around 10, 10:30 and you're not sleeping, then you don't do that. So you actually gain weight because you're sleeping late. And I wrote a book about it called as Hot Belly Diet. Eat late to gain some weight, sleep late to gain some weight. And if you're doing both, then you're doomed. If you're sleeping late and you're eating late, because then all these functions of lipid synthesis, blood sugar regulation, insulin regulation are all disrupted in the evening. The peripheral blood flow in the forearm is peaking up around that time. A lot of gastric acid secretion. So people wake up with heartburn, hyperacidity in the middle of the night around 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock. The blood cleansing, that is the immune function that happens, bacteriophagic activity that happens in the middle of the night. So when you're awake late night, then your immune system becomes weaker. Your WBC synthesis, white blood cell count, is not able to do its job because you're awake at that time. When you're asleep, then your body is able to carry out those functions. When you're awake, it doesn't. Past midnight, from 12 to sometimes 3 o'clock, there's a lot of hormonal activity that is happening. Women get hot flashes, night sweat. They wake up in the wee hours of 3 o'clock, are unable to fall asleep because the growth hormones, lymphocyte, prolactin, melatonin, ACTH, luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, they're all active, especially around menopausal time, it's even more active. And Pitta people actually wake up around those times, around 3 o'clock, and then can't go to sleep. And then when you wake up around 6 o'clock in the morning, there's a surge of cortisol. Your blood pressure peaks up, the cortisol go up. It makes you anxious, rushed, tense, worried with the whole day ahead of you, thinking of work, making money, all of those things. Before you go to office, before you go to work, there's a sudden surge of the catecholamine, as we say, the blood pressure, the heart rate, everything is peaking up. No matter what you do, you're feeling anxious. And there's all causes of death happen around that time of the day. Around 8 o'clock, 8:30, there's arterial compliance that happens. The blood gets sticky. The platelets huddle together in fright and they become very sticky and thick. They can create a clot. They can trigger a myocardial infarct. They can create an angina pain, plasma renin activity, even aldosterone and angiotensin activities increase. The platelets become sticky and adhesive. The blood becomes thick. And slowly it starts improving. So this is a clock which is kind of superimposed with the dosha clock. The Ayurvedic dosha clock is exactly that you take it from 2 a.m. in the morning till 6 a.m. is the time of Vata. 6 to 10 a.m. is the time of Kapha. 10 to 2 p.m. in the middle of the day is the time of Pitta. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is the time of Vata. Again in the evening, 6 to 10 is the Kapha time. And then from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the Pitta time. So if you look at the dosha clock and look at these activities, they actually fit perfectly, hand and glove together. So now you look at what you do all day long and ask yourself a simple question that what you do, does it really sink in what we are discussing here? Ask yourself, since you open your eyes in the morning till you close your eyes in the evening, you know the circadian clock, and ask yourself what you do. What is your main meal of the day? What is the quality and the quantity of the breakfast and the dinner that you eat? Look at your daily schedule and routine and write down 1 or 2 points that I think that are important that you want to change. You think you're sleeping too late, or you think you're eating too late, or you're taking breakfast too late, whatever it is. Understand the clock and try to see what are the improvements. Highlight the biggest factors detrimental to improving your health. You might be sleeping late, that is one excuse. You might be skipping breakfast, could be another excuse. You might be skipping your meditation, you have no time to meditate, you have no time to exercise, you have no time to eat fresh foods or fix or cook a meal. Whatever it is, just write down and identify that what is missing that is holding you away from doing something that is good for you. And then create your ideal routine. I want you to write down your ideal daily routine, especially in the winter months, when you should start your day and end your day with some brisk cardiovascular exercise. And if you just want to challenge yourself for 1 week, I'm going to give you a challenge. As soon as you wake up in the morning, could be 6, 6:30 or 7, okay? You can go to the restroom and put on your shoes, put on your walking shoes and go out for a gentle walk or a light run. Not a whole lot, 15, 20 minutes. No matter how cold it is, put on your beanie or something, just go out and walk outdoor. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then come back and start your routine. And just with this one conscious change, it'll be completely different, completely different. And another change which I wanted to challenge with is in the night, right before you're going to sleep, no matter what time it is and what you have done all day long, I want you to sit at the edge of your bed, close your eyes, and do a 3-minute meditation. Looking at your whole day, what you did in front of your closed eyes. We call this recapturing the day, recapitulation. Sit at the edge of the bed, take a nice deep breath, close your eyes and think about, oh, you wake up in the morning, you had a good bowel movement, you put on your walking shoes, you went for a walk, you came out, you were feeling pretty good. You prepared some nice coffee for you, got ready, you had a shower, you had a bagel, you went to office, you did this, you met this person, you met that person. This is what you ate for lunch. This is what you did afternoon. This is what you did in the evening. All day long, just summarize everything and then go to sleep. And I promise you, it will deepen the quality of your sleep significantly. There's a lot of science to what I'm trying to tell you here. People have researched these techniques over and over again, because not only you're putting a mindful attention on your ideal daily routine, but you're re-energizing and making the changes as they're happening. Is everybody with me? You have any questions about anything that what we have talked so far? You can unmute yourself and ask me a question if you feel like, okay? Let's take a moment. Anybody about anything, what we have talked so far? Yes, go ahead, Patrick.
Okay, yeah, I'm actually Melissa, but we're together. Oh, we changed computers. I wanted to thank you. You know, it was very hard for me to listen to your description of all the stuff that we do, because it's so painful to have to face it. But I think it's very true. And my question is, you know, you said the best time, I thought, what I heard was the best time to exercise in the circadian rhythm is in the afternoon before dinner, like yoga, or that's a good time to exercise. So my thing is, I do yoga sadhana, right, in the morning, but what I do is I vacillate and I procrastinate. So it's about noon by the time I finish, even though I've started getting up earlier. I've started getting up at a pretty good time now. But sometimes I go back to bed, but I'm usually up in the window, 6:30. And, but so I'm better with that, but I'm not getting on the sadhana right away. I'm procrastinating.
I understand that. Thank you. That's a great question. And I think you should stay active as and when you can, and that's definitely a bonus. But 5 o'clock, what I mean to say in the afternoon, is the cardiovascular efficiency for doing sport. When you are doing any sport or physical activity, you're talking about any kind of soccer or tennis or basketball, you need a lot of movement and activity and lightness and energy. That is the time when it's good for that. You can always do exercise in the morning. Morning exercise are the best because that is the kapha time of the day. You are waking up where you were more horizontal for about 7-8 hours and you are barely vertical at that time. That is when you should shed all the heaviness that is accumulated in the evening with doing exercise, even if it's a short time, 20 minutes in the morning. The research says that anybody who's able to do brisk cardiovascular exercise for 20 minutes in the morning before breakfast, the chances for them to reduce heart attack, cardiovascular incident, cardiovascular accidents, stroke, and diabetes is reduced by 43%.
Oh.
Anybody who is able to do 20 minutes of brisk cardiovascular exercise before breakfast, their chances of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes are reduced by 43%.
Mini trampoline good?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that raises your heart rate, pulse rate, respiratory rate, anything that increases your heart, pulse, and respiratory rate, makes you warm, flushed, improves circulation is all good. I wrote a book about this called as Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. Became a bestseller. You can find it on Amazon. And we discussed about chronobiology and SAD in that book also, because the neurobiology of winter seasonal affective disorder, there's a neurobiological connection. When there is winter months, there's a recurrent subtype of depression that is characterized by a predictable onset. Means you can easily predict that this is what people are feeling in the fall and winter months, and there's a spontaneous remission that can happen in spring and summer if you're not careful about it. So your neurobiological, your brain chemistry is affected because of long months of winter, and I will share some of the scientific studies also. Chronobiological mechanisms related to circadian rhythms, especially melatonin, and the topic is called as photoperiodism. Photoperiodism means how you're exposed to light. They know that the treatment of SAD is exposing yourselves to a light box. You know what light box is? Light box is that around 5 o'clock, the tube light starts coming up and it fills your whole room like it's daylight. And you can sit in front of that for a few minutes and the body will start feeling differently, because that bright light that falls onto your retina sends the message to the brain, tells the whole body to be awake and start doing things as if it's wide awake. If you have a light box sitting next to the window where you're working, even if it's dark outside, and you slowly crank up, and there are mechanisms that you can tone it and adjust it so that it slowly works like a rising sun. And it's rising sun and it slowly fills the whole room with light. And you exposed to that changes the mechanism significantly with this concept of photoperiodism, because it can be optimized by differences in chronological markers. And just by the light, your body is awake. Your mind may not be awake, your body is awake, and it'll allow you to start stimulating all these activity. What we also see is with every season, there's a seasonal change affecting the gene expression. Means people not only get flu in spring and fall, but their immunity is naturally low during those times. Their immunity is naturally low because what happens in the blood, even the blood consistency is different in spring and fall and winter. The quality of the blood that you have is completely different from one season to the other season. So the immunity, the inflammatory markers, the immune system activities of various different factors that constitute immunity is different. The immune system has profound pro-inflammatory transcriptogenic profile in the European winter, with increased level of soluble interleukin-6 receptor and C-reactive protein, risk biomarkers for cardiovascular, psychiatric, and autoimmune diseases. Peak incidences in winter because of that. Since it becomes a little bit low, then the body is more affected with those diseases. And there is a very typical pattern of the day and the seasons when people have different diseases. So it is not only boiling down to mind where you're feeling lonely and depressed. At a physical level, your blood is different. Your adipose tissue is different. And you have to do something consciously with your dietary plan changes, change in the taste of the food that you're eating, and physical exercise and sweating in order to influence improving your immunity. Even the fertility clock, they say that in winter months, during the kapha time, the male sperm motility is much more active, dynamic, and alive compared to the summer months. Women conceive more easily in the months of spring, early spring, much more easily than any other time of the year. So your fertility has a clock. Your body has a clock. The quality of the sperm that you produce in summer and winter is clocked. Little cells are fully aware that how they should express themselves and behave with different seasons. So these circannual rhythms require further exploration, and there's more and more research that is happening. But even seasonality in human and cognitive brain responses. Your brain is different in different seasons. Screening of clock gene polymorphism is the way the genetic expression happens. SPUR3 polymorphism, the morningness and eveningness. And this is very scientific term. Morningness and eveningness. Some people are more active in the morning time. Some people are more active in the evening time. You could be an owl or you could be a lark. And how do you regulate that? At what time your brain is optimum? Many people say that I function the best at around 9 o'clock in the evening when everything is quiet, my brain is at its best. When people say that I function the best when it's nice and quiet, 6 o'clock in the morning. You have a lot of creative juices flowing. And understanding that morningness and the eveningness and what is relating to your rhythmic activity. This is another simple way to understand what time of the day that you get sick. And this is compiled from hospital admissions, that around midnight, okay, you're talking about gout attacks. People have painful small joint condition in your toes and fingers. It's very, very painful, happens around this time. Gallbladder attack happen at 1 o'clock in the night, 1 a.m. in the morning. GERD, peptic ulcer rupture, diverticulitis, all of those symptoms happen around 2 o'clock early in the morning. Around 3:30, 4 o'clock is the acute congestive cardiac failure. Cardiac asthma, as they call it, is difficulty to breathe, bronchial asthma, having symptoms of swelling, puffiness, and cardiac edema. 4 o'clock in the morning, you wake up with cluster and migraine headaches. People wake up with intense headache around that time. Asthmatic attacks are really, really bad early in the morning around 5 o'clock. All causes of death is around 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. All causes of death. Around 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, allergic rhinitis, sinusitis, congestion, cold, flu, sniffles. Around 8 o'clock in the morning, the arthritic symptoms are really bad. Rheumatoid arthritis, the stiffness, joint stiffness is really, really bad at that time of the day. Depression is at its peak and worst around 8 o'clock in the morning. You feel most hopeless around that time. Looking at the whole day before you even go to work, and if you're dissatisfied with your job, what you do, good luck, because then it will even become worst. Angina pectoris, myocardial, sudden cause of cardiac death, all happens around 9, 9:30 in the morning. And especially Monday morning heart attacks, they call it. Stomach perforation around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, tension headaches around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, intestinal ulcer perforates 5 o'clock in the afternoon, osteoarthritic pain, joint pain, stiffness, cholesterol is at its elevation around that time. Because this is not only good for knowing what is happening, but even timing the medicine. And this is also an age-old Ayurvedic concept, that what medicine you should take in the morning, after meals, in the morning, empty stomach. All of this concept that Ayurveda has been talking about is totally based upon this. And the research came out that if you take your cholesterol lowering medication at around 7, 7:30 or 8 in the evening, it will need 50% less dosage than what you would need when you take it in the morning. Same with blood pressure. Because early morning empty stomach, if you take your blood pressure medication, then you would need much less dosage. But if you take it around 10 o'clock or afterwards, after your breakfast or something, that's even worse. Back pain is really bad around 8 o'clock in the evening. Restless leg syndrome, people get cramps, nocturnal cramps. The legs are a little bit restless around that time, 10, 11, menopausal hot flashes. So these clocks are scientific clocks. They're studied by validated scientific research, but Ayurveda has been talking about for a long, long time. And the Vedic calendar, the lunar calendar, is totally based upon that, what to do in different times of the year. You can actually divide the year in two different segments. The first 6 months and the second 6 months. One is called as Uttarayan and the second is called as Dakshinayan. And we actually have 12 months, and there are 12 lunar months that Vedic culture and Ayurveda and Jyotish talks about. So you take those 6 lunar months and they are having predominance of sunlight. And there are another 6 lunar months where there is a reduction in the sunlight. When there is increase in the sunlight, the physical strength becomes a little bit weak because you get dehydrated, you probably are more active, things like that. In the less sunlight way, you consume water, you feel a little bit more heavy, you have more chances to feel a little bit more kaphagenic. So one time is more kapha predominance and the other time is more of a vata and pitta predominance as such. So based upon that, you can really design what are the activities that you should be doing. So what I would like to talk about is how do you really time and plan few things that will help you beat the winter blues. That's number one, okay? So as we look at 24 hours of the day, you should be knowing what your ideal routine should be. What to do since you wake up in the morning till you go to bed. So you should really have the division of 12 hours, what to do after 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. You should be very clear what you do few hours before you sleep and few hours after you wake up in the morning. And during your day, it should be filled with activities of self-care ritual that is good for you. The seasonal rhythm is 12-month cycle. There are 12 months, which are lunar months, or you can call it as the Gregorian calendar, which is based upon sun. Sun stays in each zodiac sign for 30 days. So that's why it's 12 multiplied by 30, which is 360 days. But some days are high and low. That's why we call it as 365 days. But according to Vedic calendar, we call it as the lunar months, and that goes up to 360 days. And then the lunar rhythms are also very important. There is monthly cycle, especially in women, which is a 28-day cycle that happens. And that is divided into two fortnights of 14 and 14 days. One is the waning moon, the other is waxing moon. During this time, you can see the ocean, waves, tides, bodies of water having waxing and waning kind of an effect. You have an ocean in your body as well. 70% of our body is water. So there's a swelling, and then it goes down. So there is an upswell, there's a downswell. There is a high tide, there's a low tide that happens in our body without us even knowing about it. So that's the reason why people actually feel anxious on a new moon or on a full moon. They'll have more exacerbated bronchial asthmatic attack and things like that. Tidal rhythm. Tidal rhythm is the gravitational influence of the moon on water. So when the moon is strong and very close to the sun, the waves are really, really big, and you can feel that. The celestial rhythm. So being a medical astrologer, I talk about planetary cycles, the cycles of Saturn, which is 19-year cycles of Saturn, Jupiter for 16 years, Mercury for 17 years. We talk about the effect of sun, moon, Mars, Venus, Jupiter on your life. Whether you are a Jupiter predominant person or you're a Martian personality or you are a Mercurial personality, it tells a lot about your mind-body type. And based upon all of this, this is such a fascinating science to even think about it. Because knowing this whole miniature concept of what is out there in space and time. And this is the most important thing what I'm trying to tell you here today. There is no such thing like space and time. Space and time is an illusion, is a man-made concept. We are the one who created calendars, iCal, Google calendars, calendar on the wall, lunar calendars. There's no such thing exists like space and time. You go 100 miles in space, there's no night and dark. There is no one season or the other season. These seasons are created as an illusion because of the movement of Earth. They are illusion enough so that you're aware of it. Your body is affected by it. You have to respect that. You have to follow that. And if you follow that, then you are going to live a longer, fuller, healthier, happier life. So having a timeless mentality and live optimally in a time-bound universe. Having a timeless mentality in a time-bound world. That's the concept. That's the reason why I wrote this book called as Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. Because if the schedules keep on dictating your physiology and your biochemistry all the time, then you are doomed. Because that is not even real, and you are getting killed just because of that. So optimizing your daily routine, which is dinacharya, ratricharya is nightly routine, ritucharya is the seasonal routine, ritu sandhi is the most important aspect, which is the junction point in between the two seasons. even having an optimal routine during the menstrual cycle, those 3 or 4 days of PMS to your menstruating cycle is called as Rajokala. What women should do during those times, what food they should be eating, what are the activities they should stay away from it. Ritukala, which is the fertility time, the time when you're more likely to conceive, ovulation time, when you are more fertile during those times. This shifts, and understanding those rhythms of nature, respecting those and following a lifestyle based upon that is something very important. And I think that's what Ayurveda is all about. I wanted to share this slide with you because many European countries are thinking of banning the daylight savings time because they see that it has more disadvantages than advantages. In the olden days, the farmers used to leave the home, go to the farms, eat supper, all those things at a proper time, and the life was better. Your body was able to adjust to the season much more easily without moving the clock. So this many percentage of people are saying and begging to cancel the daylight savings time. 95% in Poland, 95% in Finland. And these are the countries where it's very low sunlight in the winter months. Is that right? If you imagine where Finland is, it's probably dark at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon and doesn't have a sunrise till 9 o'clock in the morning. Spain, 93%. Hungary, 90%, Ireland, 88%, even Australia, 77%, Denmark, 81%, Germany, 84% of people are voting. And this is Statista, which is a very respectable Gallup poll organization, which actually talks about this. So here we are stuck with these time zones and time zone changes that happen during this time, where the body is affected because of that. So let's figure out a way what to do, how to beat the winter blues. Number one is diet. In winter months, if you know that you're going to get heavy, you're going to have more kaphagenic qualities, then you have to stay away from foods. I'm not saying you should not eat any of those tastes, but you should minimize these tastes. What are the tastes? Sweet, sour, and salty. Sweet, sour, and salty, you should eat less of those foods, especially during this time from November to February. If you eat too much of cookies, candies, cakes, pastries, things like that, then it's going to get more and more kaphagenic. The Ayurvedic principle is you have to always bring in the opposite principle. And what are the opposite principle? Is opposite taste to kapha is pungent, bitter, and astringent. So if you make a lot of warm blended soups, lentil soups, cooked vegetables, you're eating foods consciously which are a little bit more bitter, astringent, and pungent, and spicy. Spices is the best way to balance the diet, especially in the winter months. And even when you talk about Christmas spices, they're phenomenal. You're adding ginger and cinnamon and rosemary and allspice and clove and cardamom. These are sweet spices, saffron. You add those to your cookies and pastries and stuff like that. Those are good, but even mustard, cumin, coriander, fennel, turmeric, these are excellent spices. So when you cook food with some spices or add some spices on top of the food is really good. Reducing salt, because salt is the food that retains water. So eating right, eating light, and becoming bright. And there are 3 components to eating right. Number one is you should have a lighter breakfast when you wake up in the morning, because when the sun is waking up, the sunlight is a little bit more tender. So you should have a lighter breakfast because you're barely waking up. Your Agni, your digestive fire, is barely waking up. So you should eat something light. Then have the main meal of the day when the sun is at its zenith in the middle of the day. And then again, eat light because the sunset is happening around that time and the sunlight is again very tender. So to eat right, to eat light is lighter breakfast, decent lunch, because you can digest many of those calories afterwards easily. And then eating light for dinner. So that is the concept. If you follow that, and another important thing is if you're done eating by 7 p.m. and not to eat anything till next day, 8 o'clock in the morning, having a total fast of at least 13 hours each night is a good sign of health. 12 to 13 hours of fasting every night is ideal. So whatever time you can devote, if you finish eating by 7 o'clock in the evening and then don't eat anything till 8 or 9, I'll be proud of you. And you can easily do that. You can easily do that. The other thing is being mindful. Interoceptive awareness, that is something which is a unique concept that is accepted in medicine now. Interoceptive awareness is to ask this question to yourself several times in a day. How am I doing? How am I feeling? Do I feel tired? Do I feel energetic? Am I genuinely hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I feeling sleepy? Am I feeling any discomfort in any part of my body? Could be neck, could be shoulder, could be joint, could be belly, abdomen. Is my skin feeling okay? Do I feel rash? Do I feel itching? Anything, anywhere. You are consciously tuning into the radio station of your body and find out what is going on. And mere your attention on that aspect will help your body to send the right kind of information and intelligence to that area to restore a homeostatic balance. Your intention, your attention, all directed to that area is helpful in restoring and invoking the inner intelligence of the body. And why most of the people are not able to do this? Because this should not, it doesn't cost you anything. Anybody should do that. They don't have time. They don't have time to even tune in to their own body for 30 seconds, several times in a day, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Just ask yourself, how am I doing? Do it right now. You're sitting, whether it is hurting, are you feeling cold? Are you feeling hot? Are you feeling thirsty? Are you liking this, what we are talking? You're not liking it. What is going on? Just ask yourself, tap into your inner feelings of the environment and let that influence your outside environment. So one thing we are learning is eat right, eat light, become bright. The second is to develop a practical tool of being mindfully aware of your internal state as an interoceptive awareness. You can even put your attention into your heart and see whether you can feel your heart is pounding easily. You can feel, you can even put your fingers on the pulse and see how you're doing. You can put your hands on your face or forehead and feel. Is it hot, cold, flush, dry, warm, moist, whatever it is. It just reconnecting with your body is first step. The more and more disconnected you are, the more difficulties you will be experiencing. How to beat the winter blues? Number one, try to get as much as light as possible. If it is bright and sunny, take your plate and sit out in the sun. If you want to go for a walk and you don't have time, try to go out during the lunch hour and get the sunshine. You should get as much as sunshine, whatever time of the day it is available. As soon as you see that the weather has gotten better and it's nice and warm and sunny, yeah, step out, whether you're working busy out of your office, get few minutes of sunshine. Avoid dark environments as much as possible. Even if you are doing some work or something, take your table and sit close to the window. That is the biggest marker that lifts your moods. Trust me. That's why we are paying so much money in California to live. It's all sunshine tax. Is that right? Because the rest of the world is probably feeling a little bit more cold and dark. And here we are in the month of December, beautiful sunny days. And many places that have these kind of sunshine, people flock to that because they feel good. So try to use the sunshine as much as possible. Allow natural light to shine through open windows. So curtains, blinds, just open everything up. Let the light shine inside, outside. Open the doors, windows. When the temperatures are moderate, keep the doors open, keep the windows open, because there's nothing like fresh air, fresh warmth, and fresh sunshine that is going to fill your house in any way. Exercise daily. You have no option. No option but to keep all moving parts moving. Whether you do it in several phases, take the steps, go up and down, jump on trampoline, go for a walk, go for a jog, go for a run, go for yoga class, do your CrossFit, whatever it is. Exercise daily. That is the biggest way to lift your moods. You release the endorphins, which act like morphine and gives you an exercise high. If possible, outdoors, because then you're interacting with the fresh elements of nature. So going out for a walk is always a good idea. No matter how bad you feel, you'll always come back with a better mood. I promise you that. So it's always a good idea after lunch during these winter months to go for a walk, or before lunch, you should go for a walk. It'll completely change the spectrum of your day. Go and talk to your holistic health counselor, because psychotherapy is one of the best tools. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling dull and depressed, go and talk to someone. You need someone to talk to interact. Your health counselor, your friend, your philosopher, your guide. Maybe set some date with your buddy that Tuesday morning we'll go for a walk. During lunch break on every Wednesday, we'll go for a walk. Or together we'll go and do this yoga class on Tuesday evening or something. So figure out a way, not just to sit and drink or go out for eat, but schedule a time to go and walk with them or do something physical activity with them. Educate yourself with your family and friends and look at your buttons. What are the problems with their personalities and behavior that we have to deal with? You cannot choose your parents, but you can always choose your friends. You cannot choose your relatives. You can always choose your friends. So you can always decide with whom do you want to hang out with. And those people who are physically active, who are health conscious eaters, they are very infectious. I mean to say infectious. They will influence you to change your behavior. And God forbid, if you love to hang out with potheads and substance abusers and alcoholics and things like that, they'll influence you that way. So select the company that you want to keep. Selecting the friends regarding SAT to gain their understanding and support. Figure it out what you want to interact with. Rearrange your workplace. Shake it up a little bit, always. Change few things here and there. It really lifts your spirit. Change the sofa, change your living room, change your bed. Whatever few changes that you will do, anything that is going to optimize the light, working near a window, setting a bright light in your work area, keeping a daily log, noting down weather conditions, energy levels, how you feel, being mindful. And as I said, that you're doing this recapitulation at the end of the day is a good activity. It'll tell you about your mood, appetite, food, what you did, what you did not do, and what can you do next day. You can always correct. Sleep times, activities. One of the best thing is avoid staying up late in the winter months, because then you oversleep in the morning, because we call it as a melatonin debt. So if you're not asleep till 11 o'clock, then the melatonin piles up and then it doesn't stop secreting at 7 o'clock in the morning. It continues till 9 o'clock in the morning, which is really bad for you. So it disrupts your sleep schedule and biological clock. So no matter what time of the year it is, try to go to sleep around 10:30 in the evening. Be aware of the cold outside temperature and dress, keep yourself warm, conserve the energy. You should be exposed to a little degree of cold, but dress warm, dress in layers, because keeping yourself warm is really good to optimize your sensations, how you're doing. Many people forget to drink in the winter months, which is the worst thing that you can do for yourself. Consciously drinking enough water, hydrating in the winter months, it's even more useful than summer, because in summer, it'll give you a signal that you're thirsty and your body needs water. But in winter, it doesn't, because everything is closely shut down, all the pores are closed down. You won't feel the desire to drink water. And that's when you should consciously, I'm glad you're drinking the water right now. That's good. Hydrating, moisturizing, applying oil to your body is falling in love of your body all over again. Just rubbing the oil in. The Ayurvedic word is snehana. Sneha means love, bonding, gluing, reconnecting. Moisturizing is one of the best way to calm down the vata. The two things that are the remedy for beating the winter blues from an Ayurvedic perspective, one is snehana and the other is svedana. Snehana is oleation and svedana is heat, sweating. The English word sweat comes from this Sanskrit word sveda, which means to sweat. So if you put some oil and sweat, you beat the winter blues right and then and there itself. When people come for Panchakarma, just an oil massage and a steam tent releases a lot of pain and suffering from their life. So drink plenty of hot water, regular room temperature water. Don't drink ice cold during this time. Warm water, room temperature, hot water, herbal teas, whatever way you can hydrate. That's good. Warm soups, moisturizing. I'm not a big proponent of putting moisturizing lotions because they are more synthetic with chemicals and stuff. But any food grade thing, olive oil, almond oil, sesame oil, mustard oil, coconut oil, food grade thing that you can eat and mix in your smoothie, add it to your salad, put it on your skin. Add spice to your life in every possible way. Adding spices, cumin, coriander, fennel, ginger, cinnamon, cardamom, clove, mustard, anything that you can get a handle on. Warming, heating spices, even fresh spices. Could be garlic, onion, asafoetida, basil, thyme, rosemary. Add that to your soups and stews and whatever you're preparing. Stay warm. Keep things warm by keeping your body active. Keep moving. Keep moving. Physical movement, activity, get rid of the heat, warmth, stiffness. Herbal teas, that's the best way to open up the circulation in the body. So if you're drinking, say, hot water with ginger and lemon, is really good. If you're preparing some tulsi ginger, tulsi turmeric tea, that's perfectly fine. Even drinking a vata tea with cumin, coriander, fennel, ginger is phenomenal. Get the sunshine. Bask in the sunshine as and when you can. Take the right kind of supplement. There are some very important supplements that I, as a clinician, recommend. One of them is a good quality vitamin D3 supplement. Anybody during the winter months should take at least 5,000 units of vitamin D3 every day. All the winter months from November to February, take one capsule of vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs every day. You should take a good quality vitamin B complex. Complex vitamin Bs, they're also good to improve the water soluble and the fat soluble vitamins. You should always add a good quality fish oil if you are physically active to reduce inflammation. It's a good idea. It's also good for your heart, good for your brain. So good quality fish oil is a good supplement. Spice mix, spice combination is good. We have an excellent supplement here called a 6-day spice mix that you can sprinkle on your food. If not, you prepare your own curry powder and just sprinkle on your food. We have a couple of supplements that we often recommend for the people in these winter months. One is called as Vital Immunity. Vital Immunity is a simple supplement which is going to probably optimize your immune function. Vital Lungs, that is also good to improve your breathing, maybe ward off COVID symptoms and things like that. Those are simple ways to do that. But there are two things that I recommend for people who are prone for winter depression. One is called as Vital Emotions. And Vital Emotion is a combination of 3 Ayurvedic herbs, which are very powerful adaptogens: Ashwagandha, Brahmi, and Tulsi. Ashwagandha, Brahmi, and Tulsi. These are powerful adaptogens, and we have a supplement called as Vital Emotions. And that is something that I would highly recommend you to take it on a regular basis during these times, if you're prone for this. Enjoying the holiday spirit, not overextending yourself and buying expensive gifts, just making sure that you're living within your means. And the joy of giving, it could be something simple and easy, something that you do yourself instead of go and write a charity check or buy something on Amazon. If you want to express something, that do it yourself. Gift of sharing, optimism, feeling optimistic about life, not feeling dull or down. The good thing about it is the wheel of time. Is that right? After winter, it's going to be spring again. After spring, it's going to be summer again. No matter what you do, how good or bad you feel, it's going to change. It is going to change. It's not going to stay this way forever. We're not going to be talking about this COVID situation for 5 more years. It will go away. Something new will come up. The new situation is constantly shifting, scattering, opening up. Having a degree of gratitude and optimism in all the seasons that we face during winter months are expressing your gratitude and being optimistic. And they are not holidays, but holy days. They are the spiritual outlook that you're going to cultivate how you feel about it. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and probably have Caitlin shares a couple of these slides, and then I will come back to your Q&A session. Is that okay, Caitlin? Or we can go to Q&A first, and then we'll do it afterwards.
Sure. Yeah, let's keep going with Q&A while people probably have questions in their mind, and then we can share a little bit more about MMI at the end.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, guys, you can open your microphone, and maybe Caitlin, can we open this? Yeah. Let's see the chat.
Yeah, and if you want to stop sharing your screen for the moment, Dr. Suhas, that would be great, and then we can see each other a little more. So yeah, folks, please just go ahead and you could use the raise hand feature if you want, but I think that we have a cozy enough group. I think you could probably just raise your real hand and yeah, we can get started with some questions. Yeah. To kick us off, I'll actually see there, Christy just dropped something into the chat, which I can just read aloud, and then maybe it will spur some other questions. She is saying that she's trying to get as much sleep as possible, and let herself wake up naturally, usually between 5 and 6, and usually a little bit later if she hasn't slept well. And so her question is, do you recommend a more strict, consistent wake up time, or is it okay to kind of let the natural, body rhythm wake you up?
Well, it's a good question. And I think there is no need for rigidity and harsh discipline about it. It's asking yourself that whether you're feeling light and awake enough to open your eyes and get started. That's the way we should get out of the bed. Okay. It should never be a situation that it is 6 o'clock, that's why you have to leave and come out or something like that. So if you're getting into a routine that you're able to fall asleep around 10:30 in the evening, or even before if you need some more sleep, and the sleep naturally becomes light and you feel well rested and you're feeling awake, you should start your day. But there's no need to force yourself to sleep less or more early in the morning. It's a mindful activity. And the funny thing about sleep is that you will train yourself into falling asleep at certain time and waking up at certain time. You will train your body to go through this cycle in that way. And once you train your body, it will do it organically. It will do it naturally. And I think that is the beauty of it. in spite of all the things that you will do, it will still be a bit affected no matter what you do. It won't be a whole lot movement where you suddenly wake up at 1 o'clock and can't go back to sleep. But it'll always have a subtle variation with the time, with your age, whether you're in a Vata age, Pitta age, Kapha age. Sleep is an interesting concept. And one of these days we'll have a whole session just on sleep and dreams. Okay, that would be a very wonderful topic for a webinar.
Totally, I agree. I totally agree. And I see that someone else has asked another question about sleep, in fact. So Colleen is saying that, she wakes up every night around 3 and can't get back to sleep. Work and stress, anxiety are kind of kicking in. And so she just gets up. But of course, this compounds over time and affects, her ability to function. So are there any sleep enhancers you'd recommend? Or sleep routine? Yeah.
Well, it's a great question. And there are two types of insomnia or sleep disturbances from an Ayurvedic perspective. One is a Vata type, where in a Vata type, you have hard time falling asleep. So you're just tossing and turning till 10, 10:30, 11, midnight till you fall asleep. And the Pitta type of insomnia is you fall asleep okay. And as soon as you hit your head to the pillow, you're gone, you sleep. And then you wake up in the wee hours thinking about work or what you're going to do, who you're going to talk and things like that. And then you can't go asleep. So that's more of a Pitta type. So if you're having a symptom of waking up 3 o'clock, this is more of a Pitta type of insomnia. And there are two very simple remedies that I often tell people. One is try to rinse your feet with cold water before you go to sleep. Sit at the edge of the tub and just let your feet rinse by cold running tap water, tap yourself dry and go to sleep. It pulls all the heat from the head to the toe, and then you go to sleep without having that heat in the brain that keeps you awake at that time. That's one thing. And then if you're eating too early, okay, so if you're eating 6:30 and you're sleeping at 10:30, by the time you're completely digested the food, you are hungry and you digest the food and you almost wake up hungry and you're not even aware that you're waking up hungry at that time. So before you go to sleep, you can have a cup of warm golden milk with some turmeric and ghee. You can try to drink as a bedtime snack. Or if you can tolerate and handle, you can have a banana before you go to sleep. Even that degree of gentle satiety will help you sleep through the night itself. The other option is you are dehydrated, you're not aware. So you wake up in the morning and keep a bottle of warm water that is ready to drink at a lukewarm temperature next to your bed in a thermos. Wake up and drink 3, 4, 5 big sips of water, and I promise you, you will go back to sleep very easily.
Great, thanks. Those are amazing tips. And also, we can all recall that Dr. Suhas, one of your challenges for us was to do the 3-minute meditation of reflection on your day at the edge of your bed before sleep, and that this kind of will help us close down our minds a little bit, right, too. So,
and I also have an Ayurvedic supplement with certain herbs, which are really good to deepen the quality of sleep. They're all nervine herbs like ashwagandha and sarpagandha and brahmi, shankapushpi. We call it as vital sleep, and we have it on our website, and you can call us and find that. It's called as vital sleep, and a couple of capsules of those every night will help you make you stay asleep. And these are not sleepy time herbs, they are nervine herbs, so they actually make your brain sharp and energized.
Great. Are there any other questions that folks have? You can raise your hand and unmute yourself and ask some questions about anything that we covered today.
Well, there's a question here. I want to start exercise before work,
yeah.
But I know myself and I will not be able to do it. It's too early, 6 a.m. Rather get the sleep. Suggestions for any other time to get more exercise? Yeah, means absolutely. So you go to work and go for a little walk or take some steps or staircases if you have in the workplace or something. And as I said, even if you don't have a whole lot of time, even if you have a treadmill at home where you can do 5 minutes of brisk walking on your treadmill or an elliptical, that you can have a small little machine for even 5 to 7 minutes, it will completely change the spectrum. You will not walk into office with a cup of coffee in your hand, feeling sleepy and sluggish, but you'll be completely open-eyed, bright and energetic, and not needing a whole lot of caffeine to keep you awake. So even few minutes. If you don't have time, brisk 3 sun salutations. Okay, brisk 3 sun salutations. That'll do the trick. You know how to do it, you learn. It's going to take maximum 3 minutes to do 3 sun salutations, and you're done. Give it a try. Is it normal to wake up at night with thirst? Yes, especially in Pitta people, it's very, very common. So they should not drink ice cold water in the night, but keep water with some lukewarm water in a thermos or something and try to drink it at that time in the night.
I have a question, actually, Dr. Suhas,
Go ahead.
and a comment, actually. But one thing I wanted to mention that struck me is just how you were talking about, we really need to get outside during the winter season. We need to get outside in the fresh air and the sunshine. And I was thinking that this year in particular, there's so many folks working from home. People are not naturally getting that opportunity to leave the house and be outside and be in the morning sunlight or the afternoon sunlight, so I think that it's probably this year more common that folks are just realizing, oh my gosh, I just spent the whole day and didn't even go outside, right? So it's so funny because that seems like such a dramatic thing, but yet so many of us are just here at home on our computer. So I think it's so good to hear that, just that reminder, like, wow, we really need to make the effort if we are truly just at our home all the time, right? So thanks for just...
Thank you, Kathleen, because I have a patient who used to have serious suicidal thoughts and very, very depressed in the winter months. She used to live in Seattle. And I remember that she wanted to run away, but that was the time for their restaurant business that was very busy and she could not really go anywhere or do anything. So she was very, very unhappy and didn't want to take antidepressant. And when I consulted with her a few years ago, I gave her a recommendation. I told her that every morning you wake up, you're going to warm up this herbalized vata pacifying oil and give yourself a whole body oil massage. And you're going to get a portable sauna. You're going to get a portable sauna where you're going to start the sauna while you do the oil massage. And you, with the steamer, you start it up and get with a chair in there. And you sit there meditating for about 15-20 minutes. While your head is sticking out, your body is getting steam. And with oil massage and sweating, she comes out, takes a hot shower, and is ready for the day. And she literally swears by it. She says that this has changed her life. Her weight management issue has gone away. Her morning stiffness has gone away. Her morning depression has gone away. Her blood pressure is behaving itself. She's become a much more joyful and happier person. She was a wealthy person, resourceful person. So she has put together a far infrared sauna in her house. And that is her every morning winter routine. And she is a vocal supporter of these two techniques of Snehana and Svedana, that she's sticking to it. And she does it more diligently in the winter months. She does it other time of the year, but from November to February, this is what she has to do. And she says that it has simply changed her life, how she felt.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing
These are
that.
low-tech techniques. These doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Just understanding creativity, the logical understanding and applying it. And it works. It works.
Yeah. My other question was just if you could speak a little bit about how seasonal affective disorder might show up differently or the same or whatever, but just speak about how that shows up in teens and children. What if there's anything there to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, not only teens, but even different body types. They're not even aware that they're responding to the same lack of sunlight differently. Okay, means Pitta people think that they are getting more cranky, impatient, irritable in those times, but it's actually depression. Anger is the other form of depression, what they're experiencing during those times. Kapha people become a little bit more clingy, needy, inert, more inward and introvert during those times. Vata people feel even more anxious, worried about future, but they are not even aware that these symptoms are due to lack of sunlight. They are responding differently with the body type. Same with teenagers. They're having more social anxiety. They don't want to hang out with friends. They don't really want to go to parties. They don't want to really go out and do something with others during those times. They have a lot of dietary issues where they are either binging on certain foods or they want to completely be anorexic or bulimic, those kind of things. Those dietary issues become 10x more during these times. And they're not even aware that the cause of this is coming from a lack of sunlight. And it's a good question. It's a good question because before we conclude, I just wanted to show a few things because are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
So the human cognitive brain response is different in different seasons. In winter months, your neurochemistry and neurobiology is completely affected and you become a little bit more depressed during those times. There's a seasonal gene expression that happens in different times in your immunity. So this is published in Nature. So this is a very respectable article. They say that during the periodic changes, there are about 4,000 protein coding messenger RNAs in the white blood cells and the adipose tissues. So your blood quality changes during this time completely. So when the blood quality changes itself, then what you're experiencing is completely different. And when you're experiencing some of those things, then what you're feeling is much more physiological and much more physical in nature. So sweating actually changes the circulatory aspect, the lymphatic circulation, what you're doing. The oleation gets rid of dryness, but it also is providing the moisture and the hydration, which is much more needed because hydration is not just water. Hydration is water and oil together. So I think as we are understanding this concept, it's becoming much more clear for us to really realize that this concept of seasonal affective disorder is not only confined to what we are doing and how it affects us, but it is creating almost a feeling to open the pathways of how the body is boosting the neurotransmitters pathways, what we are trying to do here. Okay, so let's conclude here if you don't have any final question about anything, but I will give it back to Caitlin, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the program that we are going to offer and the new program that are starting. Any of you who are interested in studying and coming, spending some time with her, learning Ayurveda, to study Ayurvedic wellness counselor, Ayurvedic practitioner, masters in Ayurveda. We have an excellent online program for the next year. So Caitlin, all yours.
Sure, thank you. And before I jump in, I just wanted to make sure there's one final question from Carol. And maybe it looks like it's a quick one, so I want to make sure she gets answered. She's wondering about thoughts of doing a castor oil pack with a heating pad, Dr. Suhas, to relax. Sounds good?
It's a great idea. That's great. It's nice and warm. It is not only good for digestion and assimilation, but it also opens up this whole area of the pelvic area where the vata is often blocked. Regulating vata, which is the king of the dosha, is always a good idea.
Great. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Carol. Great. Well, yes, we're officially closing now. I just have a few more things to share with everyone, but I just wanted to take the time to say thank you so much, Dr. Suhas. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you all enjoyed the session. I certainly learned a lot. I hope you all took some great knowledge to just, get you through this winter season. And we'll be following up with you with some additional resources. A couple of the things Dr. Suhas mentioned, I can make sure to send in a follow-up email as well. And as I mentioned, this is the fourth webinar in a series, and our next one is on Saturday, January 16th. And if you enjoyed today's session, I hope you'll consider joining us in the future as well. Heather Grizich, who is a MMI master's graduate, is going to be presenting on honoring women's health through Ayurveda. So keep an eye out for that. You can find all sorts of information about what's coming up through MMI on our calendar page on our website. And if you enjoyed this session and you're interested in learning more about Ayurveda, you're interested about learning more about educational programs here at MMI, I invite you to join us at our next virtual open house, which is on December 16th. And the virtual open houses have been so great. They've been a great way to connect with folks from all over the country and internationally sometimes to learn more about our upcoming programs. And so this is an opportunity we'll be reviewing all of our Ayurveda programs, as well as our Ayurvedic yoga therapy program and our YTT, our yoga teacher training. We're going to be talking about all of them in December, and you'll have a chance to meet some faculty and just ask questions and kind of get the full picture of what we offer. And I just want to mention, you can skip to the next slide. I think it's fine. Thanks. Yeah, so I just want to quickly mention, because we have one program coming up super soon on January 21st, and it is the Ayurveda Health Counselor Program. This is our foundational level training. It is the pathway to our practitioner, our masters, our Ayurveda yoga therapy program. And this is starting in just a couple, 6 weeks from now almost. So if you are interested in furthering your studies, this might be a great place for you to start. So I encourage you to join us at the open house to learn more about it. And I wanted to highlight that we also have the opportunity to join for the first module, the first, second, or third modules of that program through something called the Foundations of Ayurveda program. And this is essentially the opportunity to take the first 3 months of the AHC, our Ayurveda Health Counselor program, sort of a la carte. You can sign up. I'm not going to go through all the details, but you can sign up for credit or not for credit. So if you're considering, joining the AHC program, but you're not sure if you're ready to commit or if it's the right fit for you right now, the Foundations program would be a great opportunity for you to really try on the program for size. And you could join to, with doing all the homework and for credit and transition into the full program, or you could kind of take it not for credit, which would be a more condensed version. So we're excited about this offering and encourage you to check it out. And 2 more things I'd love to mention is just that our online herbs shop, Ayurveda World, is a great place to explore Ayurvedic herbal products. We have tinctures, oils, herbal compounds, etc. And we're also having a great sale right now. So please do visit our site. This is a great chance to stock up on some treats for yourself and your loved ones in the holiday season. And finally, we would love for you to support MMI. We're a nonprofit institute dedicated to providing experiential and transformational learning, and your gifts will support the sustainability and scholarships for students here. So if you're inspired, we will welcome your donations. And that wraps it up. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much, Dr. Suhas, for sharing such great wisdom, timeless, seasonal, but timeless wisdom. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in this new offering. We invite you to stay connected. Visit our website. I'll be sending a follow-up.
Thank you, everyone. And Anna, welcome to the Ayurvedic Health Counselor class. And we'll be having many more discussions like this. And thank you for tuning in to this webinar and many more to come. So always good to slowly build this community, and you're all participating in this wonderful Jnana Yagya, as we call it. So we are just spreading knowledge and feeling inspired. It's like a little satsanga that we are doing to be connected and probably inspire each other. So I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful holiday season and take good care of yourself. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks for joining us.